All right, we're back with Toronto Wine Drinker, TorontoWineDrinker.com, joined by Lorie O'Sullivan, sommelier in Toronto. She's a colleague and a former, a fellow student of my teacher.
Yes.
Leslie Provo.
Yes.
Lorie, let's talk about what happens. Well, how did you get into wine in the first place? Let's start there. Besides, say, just wanting to get drunk or something.
Just wanting to get drunk. Well, I do come from Niagara, and as a kid, I had a lot of friends that had farms, and I used to help tie grapes, pick grapes, harvest grapes, and I always thought it was a great way to spend time outside, getting a suntan, making a few extra dollars, and didn't really think about it as a career.
Okay.
And it wasn't until maybe 10 years later that I discovered that wine is a lot of fun. I was really getting into food and food, matching wine and food, and that's how it sort of evolved.
Nice. Now you went into and took the wine program. You studied
Yes.
wine. Is it one of those things like where you graduate, now you're a sommelier, and then it's a kind of a question of now what?
Not really. I knew that I wanted to work in a restaurant.
Oh, okay. So there was a definite trajectory there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
One of the things I did, very ballsy of me, is that I hadn't worked in a restaurant in probably about, say, 11, 12 years.
Yeah.
And I went and found out who the top sommeliers were back in 2003, and I begged one of them for a job. And he said to me, well, when's the last time you worked in a restaurant? I'm like, well, it's been quite a while. And he's like, well, the best way you're going to learn how a fine dining restaurant works and how things work is starting off as either a hostess or a food runner. I highly recommend the food runner route or assistant server because you'll see the dishes being prepared and you'll learn a lot.
Okay.
So there I was, late 20s, running food, and my counterparts were much younger than me, but I learned the ins and outs of a restaurant and I learned how it works. So I feel where I've come from today, that gave me the foundation to become a sommelier. So when I went and I applied for jobs after, getting my sommelier certificate, well, what restaurant experience have you had? Well, I worked here, I worked my way up to a server.
Right.
I did my stage at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, and literally when I graduated in 2006, I landed a job here at Air Canada Centre in the Platinum Club.
Nice.
And I really lucked out. There was actually only one job, and it was myself and a colleague who had graduated with me from the Niagara program, and they were apparently only hiring one sommelier, but they hired two. So,
nice.
And I've been here ever since.
Nice.
Yes.
When people approach a menu and they're talking to you, you're the sommelier, and they seem to be having trouble. What's your advice to people? I asked this of another sommelier, but I'd like to get your opinion. When people approach a wine listing, they're not quite sure what to do. What's your advice to them?
And that happens quite a bit. My approach is, I find out what wine they like. What kind of wine are they bringing home? Because, to give you an example, if somebody is drinking, let's say they're into lighter wines, so they like Gamay or they like Beaujolais, if I bring them over an Amarone, they're not going to like that because they're going to be like, wow, this is like, she wasn't listening to me, she has no idea what I like. So I really try to, listen to what the guests like. So for example, if somebody says that they like Gamay, I might start with a Pinot Noir and sort of build them up gradually, as opposed to, giving them something that's so different and so, esoteric that they're like, what is this?
Right.
This isn't. So for me, it's listening to my guest and hearing what they like, and then either maybe kicking it up a little bit, seeing if they're in for experimenting with something different, but keeping it in that same realm and that same flavor profile that they like,
Nice.
so that they'll have a great experience.
What's the most important thing that you think a sommelier needs to have in order to work in the industry?
Really good listening skills. You have to listen to your guest. Whether it be, what kind of wine they're looking for, or even the price point they want to spend. And I think a lot of people are intimidated because they're worried if a sommelier is going to come over to the table, they're either going to recommend the most expensive wine by the glass or the most expensive bottle. And for me, that certainly isn't the case.
Let's get that out of the way, actually. Like, when you approach a table, the person shouldn't be intimidated into thinking they have to now spend like $100 to $200 a bottle, right?
Not usually, no. It's but again, some people only want to spend like $40 or $50 on a bottle. And then you have the guest that's like, that'll quite frankly tell me, oh, keep it under $10,000. I had somebody tell me that once.
Come on, are you serious?
I really did. It was during playoffs in the Platinum Club that somebody said, keep it under $10,000.
Did you?
Well, he had 3 bottles, and it was just shy of 10,000.
Really?
Yes.
Bottles of what?
It was a 1996 Harlan Estate, which is a cult wine in Napa Valley, Cabernet Sauvignon, and the price was $2,875.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Okay, so I could sell my car and then come down and have some wine at the Platinum Club, is what you're telling me. Okay, great.
No. That was that was our most expensive bottle. We have a lot of the bottles that we actually sell in the Platinum Club are very reasonably priced, and I can recommend something even around the $60, $70 price point that you're absolutely going to love.
Now, you're a sommelier, so if you go out to a restaurant or somewhere and you open a wine list, you see the wine list. What about that wine list tells you that the sommelier there knows what they're doing?
When I look, first of all, I'm looking at the prices, and if certain things are marked up, I'll know why. But again, if there's a variety of different wines that they've got a few little obscure things on there that perhaps wouldn't appeal to a larger audience, but would appeal to somebody that's into wine.
Okay.
You know, having for example, having a Falanghina from Italy, or something that's a little bit unique and different that you may not find. Maybe a few South Africans that, just something that's, maybe a wine from Croatia, just something that's a little bit unique and different. And again, we're always looking at price points. Like, I certainly know, one of the grapes I love is Riesling. And so if I can find a really good value Riesling from either the Clare Valley in Australia, that's something that I look for. So,
nice. How can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more or get in touch?
I have a blog. It's Lorie Loves Wine, and that's Lorie with an E, Lorie, loveswine.com.
Nice.
Yes.
I'll put that on the screen so everyone knows where it is. And,
perfect.
Lorie, thanks a lot for talking to me.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll talk to you soon, and
yes,
cheers.
Cheers.
Okay.